Hello friends, I am Dr. Tarpan Shah and today I am going to discuss with you all regarding the top 10 teaching methods. And let's see, first and foremost we need to connect with our audience. They should feel comfortable with us. If our feeling level is fine, then the dealing level will be very fine. Second point, for any presentation or any lectures or any type of explanation, anything which we want to give, the starting part, it has to be very superb. If the start is superb, half the battle is won. We need to create attention of our audience towards us during our presentation. Third point, don't just tell about the facts and data, always go from known to unknown approach while teaching. Always give the learners the things which they want from you and not the things which we want to give. And the next point is there should be a change in the teaching methodology from the teacher-centered approach to the students-centered approach. Let's see this 5 E's for the effective teaching. The first E is engage. Basically, we have to occupy and engage the students in the variety of activities. Then only we can do a effective teaching. Second, explore. Take your students from known to unknown approach. Travel through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it. Explore the new things in the teaching, explore the new things in the topic which you are teaching to your students. The third point, evaluate. Evaluate or to judge the effectiveness of the teaching. I always do the evaluation of my teaching by asking the students the questions like, are you all with me? Yes or no? Or else I'll ask the question from some of the subtopics which I have completed, and then I will evaluate whether my students are with me or not. If they are not able to answer, or if I feel they are not with me, I will take a small break in such a way that I will gain their attention once again. I will bring all the audience towards me and then I will start with my teaching once again. Fourth E is explain. Make an idea or situation clear to students by describing it in more detail or revealing the relevant facts. Try to give a more detailed explanation or the justification for the point which you have told to them. The fifth point is elaborate. That means explain or present in further detail. Go in depth of any particular topic. Try to go in depth, elaborate the point or the topic which you are teaching to your students. So these are the 5 E's for the effective teaching. If we follow this, we can improve our teaching. Let's see the teaching methods. Today I am going to give you an idea about the 10 topmost or good teaching methods. The first one is lecture method. Lecture method is the oldest method, and in the lecture method large number of topics can be covered in a single class period. Basically this will help the students listening skills, help to learn the language, and exclude the using of lab or any equipment. That is the disadvantage of this method. But the lecture method as such is not that much effective until and unless you merge with the other methods, which include maybe your discussion method, role play, problem solving method, or any other method. But the lecture method is good when you are addressing when your focus is to cover the large number of topics. Let's see the second method, that is discussion method. Discussion method involves a variety of forums for open-ended and the collaborative exchange of ideas among the teacher and students, for basically the purpose of furthering the students thinking, learning, problem solving, understanding, etc. Discussion method is highly used method for admission into the B schools, for the admission in the MBA, and for doing the doctoral studies. Even you can go through one of the video which I have prepared on group discussion, do's and don'ts. It is also a very good method for the teaching. The third method is a project method. It is an educational enterprise in which the students has to solve a practical problem over a period of several days or a week. So it becomes self-learning, guided learning, and involved learning. So the effectiveness will be more. The students can be able to remember the things for a longer duration of time if they do some project on it. Okay, if you think about the science subject, if they're doing a static or a dynamic model, okay, or if they're doing some experiment, okay, they'll be able to remember it for a longer time. The fourth method is a role play. It is the changing of one's behavior to assume a role, either unconsciously to feel a social role or consciously to act as an adapted role. For example, you want to give an idea about one of your patient, that how the patient has behaved with you, or how the patient has given a history to you, or any incidents which has happened between you and patient, so that you can perform it in a form of a role play and you can explain to the students, you can show that to the students. That will create an interest and students will be able to remember this in a form of an incidents for a long period of time. The fifth one is your problem solving method. It is always a good way for the teaching because it will enhance the mental thinking, it will increase the mental activity. So basically purposeful mental activity we give that will help to solve the problem and make the decisions or to fulfill a desire to understand. So basically our mind will keep on thinking. Just suppose a problem arises, automatically if we try to think about the solutions, our brain will think about it and we try to get so many ideas. Okay, and if you want to develop this problem solving methods or the approach for the teaching, as I said previously, first make our feeling level comfortable with our students, then the dealing will improve. And okay, many of the problem we can solve with the students and they can enhance their knowledge. Let's see the other 5 methods. Demonstration method, it basically involves showing by reason or a proof, explaining or making clear by use of the examples or the experiments. You demonstrate something, show something to the students, perform some experiments, show something on the models, etc. So it's a good way students will be able to remember it for a long time. 7th method, classes outside the classroom. Now sometimes changing the place where you are taking the lecture, that also helps a lot. What you can do is you can take the lecture, same lecture, maybe in a hospital in the form of a clinical teaching, so that enhances your teaching effectiveness. Maybe you can show one patient and you can do a case related discussion. And if you are not in a medical field or a paramedical field, if you just take the lectures outside the classroom, it will make the learning more engaging, make the learning more relevant if you are taking them to a place where that particular teaching has to be done. For example, if you are taking them to a science museum and if you are teaching them, okay, that is the same lecture if you are taking it in a museum, and if you show them something, it increases the effectiveness. Basically it nurtures the creativity and imagination of the students, and it develops the learning through the play and the experimentation. So this is also a good idea. We can implement it for a change and definitely it will be welcome from our patient side. I give you an example. Just suppose you want to teach about vitamin D, which we are getting it from sunlight. Okay, and you want to show that you want to tell them that we are getting a cholecalciferol from vitamin D3, and that is required if your patient is having a osteoporosis or if your patient is having a calcium deficit. So if you take the lectures outside the classroom where they are taking the sun bath as well, definitely that will be giving them a practical idea as well, that okay, how the sun rays are feeling, and you can teach them the theoretical part as well. The eighth method is a storytelling. This is a very good method of a teaching, okay, rather than story. If you are not comfortable or not appropriate with your profession, you tell them about some of your old cases which you have treated, or some relevant incidents which has happened, and the which you can correlate with the topic which you are teaching right now. So a good form of a teaching is a storytelling, and it has the potential of fostering the emotional intelligence and help the students to gain the insights into the human behavior. Remember, most of the time, okay, this story, incidents, case, clinical teaching, students will be able to remember it for a long time than just a formal lecturing, which most of the professors, they do it in a class. Okay. The ninth method is always welcome the new idea. When we involved in active teaching with our students, there may be new ideas which will come from the student side, or even sometimes a new idea comes to our brain actually when we are teaching to our students. So we should be always welcoming a new idea. So basically an open-minded attitude can help us for innovating the new things and the new teaching methods, and that increase more of the participation from the students. I always say that we should not inform the facts, knowledge or the data to our students, but we have to involve our students. If they are involving in our lectures when we are teaching them, so what will happen, that will enhance their involvement, will enhance their knowledge. And the last method which I want to say is the simulation games or the educational game. So learning is a fun when the puzzles and games are the part of the education. Students may not feel that they are learning something when their lessons are introduced through the games, and puzzles and games helps the students to think creatively, and it will help them to face the challenges. So always through the games or through the other activities we can teach and train our students. So I always say, first we have to tell, then we have to teach, and then we have to train. So if we follow these 3 T, okay, we can enhance our teaching methods. And in the last part of this particular video, I would like to give you some idea about the passive versus active learning. A very famous saying or a quote which says that if I see, okay, definitely I'll forget. If I hear, I will remember. And if I will do, I will understand, and I'll be able to remember it for a longer time. I would like to give an idea about Edgar Dale's cone of experience. Like, people generally remember the learning activities which you can see here, and people are able to how many days they are able to remember, what are the outcomes. So just suppose if your students are just reading, so 10% of what they read, okay, only they will be able to remember this at the end of 2 weeks. If they hear something by attending your lectures, 20% of what they hear they'll be able to remember at the end of 2 weeks. If you show them some videos or the images, only 30% of what they see they'll be able to remember at the end of 2 weeks. If they attend the exhibit sites or watch a demonstration which you have given it to them, 50% see what they see and hear they'll be able to remember. So if you enhance your skill by doing some demonstration in your lecture, they'll be able to remember almost 50%. And just suppose if you do the teaching with the hands-on, okay, you show them, and if you ask them to perform on a workshop, or if you design a collaborative lessons, 70% okay of what you said and what they write they'll be able to remember. And if you make them to prepare to give some presentation, okay, or maybe a paper or a poster presentation, or maybe a working or a static model, where you teach them, okay, and they also learn by themselves by doing a different search on the internet, reading from the books, reading from the journals, etc. And when actually they prepare, okay, and if they do a presentation, almost 90% of what they do they'll be able to remember. So read and hear, okay, it will define the describe and list the explain, image, videos, okay, and the demonstration, okay, that will improve their capability to remember it for a long time. And if you give them a hands-on practice, or if they are doing it really, okay, they'll able to remember it for a very long period of time. So your teaching or the method of taking the lecture, it has to improve. So I always say that your experience should not increase in the years, but your experience should be reflecting in when you are taking the lectures, when you are treating the patient. So not only focusing on reading, hearing, just on showing the videos or the images, okay, go with the demonstration, go on teaching something on a hands-on, go with the collaborative lessons, okay, go on teaching and training your students for preparing for doing the paper, poster, working or the static model, and let them also do some homework based on the teaching which you do. And if you go with this type of involvement teaching with the students, they'll be able to remember it for a very long period of time. So to summarize this particular video, I would like to say there are 5 E's which you have to remember for the effective teaching. That is, first one was engage, explore, evaluate, explain and elaborate. And 10 methods of teaching, that is lecture method, discussion method, project method, role play, problem solving method, demonstration method, classes outside the classroom, storytelling, welcome new ideas, and the stimulation games. And try to understand about the active and the passive learning, and try to follow this Edger-Dale's cone of experience, and try to improve the teaching from the reading, hearing on images and video to do the real things. Definitely, if you improve your teaching capability, the response which you will get it from the students, from your audience, that will also improve, and you will feel that, okay, you are, as you are improving, okay, your feedback will also improve and students will listen to you very carefully.